up, gamers? Today on Dice and Dragons, we've got some new equipment, a new shot. You'll hear a little bit about our adventures in filming when we get to the components, but today we are going to be reviewing Heroes of Terrinoth. Now, the game is based on the original Warhammer Quest game designed by Brady and Adam Sadler. Now, Fantasy Flight has reissued Warhammer Quest as this new game, Heroes of Terrinoth, once again designed by the Sadler brothers. There have been some small changes. We have not played Warhammer Quest, so don't ask me what they are. But now I'll toss it over to Julie and she'll tell you more about the game itself.
So it's a cooperative game for ages 14 and above. It's a 1 to 4 player game that should play in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's about right. It does feel like it can take a little bit less time if you're playing with maybe 2 characters or solo and one person's making all the decisions. But the plays that we've had has definitely been about that 45-minute mark. So what are we going to do now, Julie?
We're going to grab our best friends or grab our drinks.
Yeah.
And then grab our best friends.
And we're taking it to the table. Keep it right here.
Maybe I'll switch things around and I'll keep saying grab our best friends first. Seems like the more important thing.
I don't know. Kind of just flows better. Grab a drink, grab a buddy. Yeah, that's kind of where it started. But you can change it if you like.
Okay.
Now we're going to take a look at the components for Heroes of Terrinoth. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of story time because this is my second take at the components. Reason for that is we are using some new audio equipment. That's why you're seeing a completely different framing. We've got a new microphone, and the first experience did not go very well. In fact, we're going to be using multiple audio sources for this specific video. However, I believe we have finally resolved it, and I've learned enough about sound editing to last me a lifetime. Maybe not a lifetime, but it's been a lot for the last couple of days. With that being said, let's dive into the components. And please forgive any of the differences in audio throughout the video. The playthrough is going to be the iPhone audio. The playthrough and how to play just sounded a lot better than the original setup with the new mic. Got that out of the way. We're diving in. Now, we're going to start with the components that we have right here. We're going to go from the quests over, doing a little bit, left to right. And Heroes of Terrinoth comes with 8 quests. You can see all the different names for them right there, starting with the Goblin problem and followed up by a foul ritual. You don't necessarily have to play them in order, but you will see the difficulty of the quest over there in the corner. Now, like everything in the game, difficulty will range from trivial, challenging, to formidable. And right up in the corner, that little token, the hourglass, is the Peril token, which is associated with the quests. Taking a look at the quest, let's now take a look at the different status conditions that are in the game. Now, we've got focused, weakened, and poisoned. Poisoned and weakened will make you take damage, whereas focused is a nice boost for your abilities. You get these 3 reference cards, and there's enough for every player. If you guys do have any questions, you may see some of them showing up in the how to play and the playthrough. Now that we've covered the conditions, we're going to take a look at the things that you're trying to beat up and explore, the locations and the enemies. Now here we've got the location deck, and here is the enemy deck. What I've done is I've taken out 3 locations and 3 enemies. The way that it works is you've got a trivial location, a challenging location, and a formidable location. With the zombies, you've got trivial, challenging, and formidable. Said zombies, I meant enemies. Well, you guys get the idea. Now, how do these location cards work? Challenge rating right here. Text that may start at the beginning or the end of the travel phase. The amount of enemies that you need to spawn in front of the heroes. The amount of enemies that will spawn in the shadows. And what you need to explore the location. Now, if you guys do have some questions about that, don't worry. We cover everything about the travel phase and the peril phase in the how to play, and you'll also see more of it in the upcoming playthrough. Now, let's take a look at the enemies. So once again, we've got trivial, challenging, and formidable. Now to read the enemies right here, we've got the damage that they will inflict, the amount of health they have, and this little gray circle is the resilience, meaning essentially their armor. You have this track right here, and I'll slide my finger across the top, which is their action track, how they're going to trigger during the enemy phase. You've got some flavor text and a description of their abilities. In this case, it is grab. This card will tell you what to do with grab. Now, if we're looking at the Crypt Dragon, you'll notice that this one is red instead of blue. That's because it is a master. There are 3 types of each enemy. So 2 minions, 1 master. Once again, you will see the damage that they do here. You will see their track as well. It doesn't change for the master. And their health and resilience. So those are the enemies. Those are the locations. What you're going to be doing is using your actions to defeat them and explore the locations. Now we're just going to jump away from the reference cards, which are next, and take a quick look at the tokens because they go well with the cards. Now, we've got the tokens over here. You will see the ones that are shaped like blood. Those are the wound tokens. They are double-sided, showing 1 and 3. We have the success tokens, which are the same symbol for success as the dice. When you use them, you can boost your actions with guaranteed successes. The 1 and the 3 for the exploration tokens are also double-sided, and the torch symbolizes the party leader. Now, taking a look at the tokens, let's take a look at the other enemies before we go to the reference cards, the Nemesis. And just like everything else, we have the trivial, challenging, and formidable Nemesis. Those of you that have played Descent or other Terrinoth games may recognize these enemies. As you did, I'm just going to grab the most challenging one, our formidable Nemesis, Valindra. You also see the damage she inflicts, her health, her resilience, which is 3, her track, so when she triggers, and you've got a description of what she does during the enemy phase. You also notice this little skull symbol right here, which triggers when you roll that symbol on the dice. Now, taking a look at the Nemesis, let's move on to the reference cards as well as the dice that you're going to be rolling in the game. Now, there are 3 different reference cards that come in the game. You've got your basic player reference card, which just sort of details attack, explore, rest, and aid. The 4 different actions you can take on your turn, what each symbol means. And then these 2 reference cards are for the player count. Now, if you're playing with just 2 players, you're going to get plus 10 health, and this says that each player will take 2 activations. Now, with 3 players, what happens is each player gets plus 4 health, and 1 player will get a second activation. Now, here we have the dice, and I've just flipped them over so you can see a nice example of the different symbols. Now, this is blank, meaning don't have to worry about it. Enemy does nothing. This symbol, which matches the wound token, is counterattack. And there is a skull that will trigger the Nemesis' skull ability. These are the defense symbols right here. This is the defense symbol right there. You may also see it appear with a success. So it is on the dice multiple times. This starburst is a critical success, meaning you get to roll the dice again. And then you've got the just straight up success symbol, which could also be the double success symbol. Don't worry, your reference guide will keep everything straight. Now, we've taken a look at the quests, the enemies, the locations, our tokens, and we're about to move on to the heroes, but I want to do something that I normally do at the start, but I neglected to do it this time. We are going to take a quick look at the rulebook. Now, the rulebook is definitely well put together. It has a nice setup to set up the first quest. You can also find that same setup on the back of the Goblin problem. And on the back, you have your quick reference guide, which will help you with regards to anything that you need, specifically the phases. And that's some of the stuff that isn't necessarily on your reference card. All in all, nice looking rulebook, and it does the job well. Now let's take a look at probably the most important part of the components. Well, at least the things that the players are going to be most interested in, the heroes. Now, there are 4 different types of heroes. You can see them right here. We've got our scouts, we have our mages, we've got our healers, and we've got our warriors. Now, there is 3 different heroes of each class, and then you notice that there are a couple of different hero cards that I have set out right now. Well, these 4 right here are your basic hero cards, and they represent the different actions that you can take. For the healer, I just showcased aid. For the mage, I showcased attack. Here we've got explore, and then we've got rest. And these are the 4 different actions. I'll just slid over 3. 4 different actions that you can take during the game. Now, what you have right here are the upgraded action cards. Now, what's important is if you're a scout, you can choose to either go the path of the thief or the wildlander. You may not mix the 2 decks. For the mage, it is either the geomancer or the rune master. With regards to the healers, you are either the spirit speaker or the disciple. And when it comes to the warrior, you are either the knight or the berserker. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the action cards. Suffice it to say, even though everyone has the same actions, they are definitely not the same on the cards. The way you do it is you're going to start from top to bottom, performing every action on the card. Now, I'm able to tell you guys, since I've already filmed the how to play and the playthrough, I do make a few small mistakes during the playthrough, but I do correct it. It just goes to show you a little bit about the flow of the game and stuff that Julie and I will talk about when we get into our review. Now, before we move on to our how to play, let's just take a quick look at the heroes. We'll start with Ashrien, the healer. You'll see her total health and then her ability. So let's read what the ability is at the start of the enemy phase, you may exhaust 1 minion or master engaged with you. So that is her specific ability. If we take a look at Averick Albright now, when resolving an action, you may change 1 shield result to 1 success. And he also does have 13 health. You notice that not all the heroes do have the same amount of health. One Fist, for example, has more health than the other warriors. And you can see the same thing with Tethris versus Tombo Broa. Now, all the heroes have their own unique flavor. As you play the game, you're going to find the ones that most appeal to you and suit your style of play. So, with that being said, we've now covered all of the different components that come in Heroes of Terrinoth. Well, not every one. We didn't showcase every enemy, but enough to give you guys an idea as to what you are getting in the box. We're then going to move on to our how to play as well as a playthrough of the Goblin problem. Just to remind you guys, I am filming this after I did the playthrough and the how to play. And we are using a different audio source. It is the iPhone. I'm going to do my best to clean it all up in post. Thank you for bearing with us. I just really wanted to refilm this because the audio for the first version just was not usable. And we are working hard here to upgrade everything we have at Dice and Dragons to bring you guys the best videos possible. And like I said, be a little bit patient with the playthrough. I do make some minor mistakes, specifically with regards to the exploration. I do miss drawing the card from time to time, but I do believe I catch all of the mistakes, and it's going to be fun to take you guys through the game. So keep it right here, and we're going to be back in a few seconds. Our play space is prepared, and we are now going to set up Heroes of Terrinoth. The first thing I'm going to do is just show you guys what I don't have in the play space that I prepared near the board. Now, what you do need is, of course, your tokens. You're going to need your exploration tokens, the damage tokens, as well as the success tokens. Make sure they're nearby. You're going to need each of your characters' upgraded decks. So I've got the Disciple and the Spirit Speaker available for Averick. Next, I also have the Rune Master as well as the Geomancer available for Landrick. Those are now near the board. And of course, I do also have some components that we're going to be bringing in to the setup. Now, on the back of the Goblin problem, you can see the story so far, our victory conditions and defeat in terms of story, and these special setup instructions if there are any. I'm just going to pick this up quickly. So as you can see, there are no special setup instructions, no enemies, no locations, no exploration. Then we've got our instructions for the enemy deck, the location deck, as well as the explore deck. Now I'm going to set that back down, straighten it out, and we're going to start by setting up the enemy deck. Now what we need to do is we need to take the 3 Goblin Archers. I'm going to just place them down right here. We're going to take the 3 Goblin Witchers, and the Rat Swarms. I'm going to pile all of these together. This is going to be our first pile. Next, we need to take the Bandits, Cave Spiders, and the Ogres, as these are going to be our second pile. Now what we need to do is we shuffle up each of these piles individually. And just giving them a quick shuffle mix. We then place this pile first. As you can see, there's the arrow 1 pile going on top, right down underneath Splig. We then take our first pile and get this all nice and mixed up. And we will place this on top of our other pile. Next, we need to take the base, village, and wild. Well, I got these in the wrong order. So as you can see here, it says base, wild, and village. Exploration cards. Now, there are no arrows. There's no order. You just take all of them together and you shuffle them. And this is going to go right up here and form the exploration deck. I'm not going to spend too much more time shuffling because I want to go over some of the other stuff that we've gone and done for the setup. I'm going to just flip this over. Going to place the exploration cards right up here. We will take the Peril token and start it in the first position. We have our conditions in case we need them here. The characters that I will be playing is Averick Albright Healer. We've got our reference card for a 2-player game. I only put one of them out. Here we've got Landrick the Wise Mage. He is going to be the party leader. We have our reference card that you can see right here, which just reminds us what type of damage each success does, what the rolls do, as well as what the rolls do for the enemy dice, and the success token symbol as well. Now, let's take a look at the heroes. Now, with regards to Averick, when resolving your action, you may change 1 shield to 1 success result. And Landrick the Wise, after resolving your action, if you did not spend any success tokens, you get to claim 1 success token. Now, we've got our hero set up. There are 4 starting actions are placed. I'll show you guys the cards when we get into the how to play. We have our dice, our white hero dice, our black enemy dice, and now we are ready to start playing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right here. I'm going to come back with our how to play. What we'll do for the how to play is I'm going to try to break it up into phases. And if things are going well, or if I'm having fun doing this, it may turn into a full playthrough of the Goblin problem. So keep it right here, and we'll be right back shortly. Hey guys, I know we were supposed to go into the how to play, but I realized I neglected something slightly on the setup, and that is I neglected to place the location cards. So we'll do that quickly, and then I will cut it and we will get into the how to play. You can see the location cards right here, the order they go in. Roadside Inn on the top, second the Dark Forest, and then the Brigand Camp. I will just place this back down. So what I then need to do is place the Brigand Camp here on the bottom, place the Dark Forest right here, and then the Roadside Inn. Now I've gone ahead and done it. The game is set up. We will get the Peril token back there and we will cut and we'll come right back with the how to play. Now we're going to teach you how to play Heroes of Terrinoth. We're going to start out with the first scenario, the Goblin problem. And I'm just going to give you guys a brief explanation of how I'm viewing the play space. I'm going to move these dice right here. We're going to consider this middle play area, the shadows. This areas right here will be for those enemies. And also maybe a little bit of this facing off against our heroes, Landric the Wise, our party leader, and Avric Albright. And let's get into it. Now, the game is divided into 4 phases. And we're going to do the how to play going through each phase. So we're starting with the hero phase. But before we can do that, we need to actually start up the game by flipping over the top location, which is the roadside inn. And we will see that this is a trivial location. It has an exploration rating of 6. It will spawn 1 monster in front of the party leader. You always start with the party leader, and 3 monsters in the shadows. Now, we will place this right here. So we will flip over this first monster, the Goblin Archers, which I will place in front of Landric the Wise. We will then place the next 3 monsters face down in the shadows. So, we've got just enough room for them. And it is now the hero phase. As we are playing a 2-player game, each hero activates twice. Heroes must alternate activations with each other, and each hero has plus 10 health. Well, we need to explore, and an interesting thing about the game is that minions in the shadows do not follow us. Now, I'm not sure we necessarily want to kill these goblins. Let's see what we can do by exploring first. And let's take a look at Landric's Explorer card. Now, we need to go down the card in order. So with regards to Explore, we will roll 2 dice. We then draw and resolve 1 exploration card. And I may exhaust another activation card to choose 1 enemy engaged with you, and that enemy retreats. So I can make this guy retreat, and we'll talk about engage and retreat soon, but not for the moment. Now, what I need to do when I'm exploring, I'm going to take 2 white dice, and I'm going to move the dice just off screen, and I will need to take 1 enemy die because there's 1 enemy engaged with me, meaning he's trying to hinder my progress. And we're going to roll up the dice and see what we get. That was a cock die, but for the moment we will leave it like that. And what happens is we got nothing. Now, if I rolled the counterattack, Landric would have taken 1 damage. If I had rolled this skull, we would have triggered Splague's ability. In this case, even though it was slightly cocked, it would have landed this way, and I'll just make things simpler. We actually don't have any negative effects. Not that would have mattered, because as you can see here, I have a success and a shield, meaning if I'd gone to counterattack, I would have been able to block the 1 damage. Now this is a critical success, meaning I get to go roll again. For keeping things simple, I will just grab another die and roll it, and I've gotten another success. That means I'm able to place 3 success on the roadside inn. And just so we can keep things clear, I'm going to place it next to the card. And as I've done my explore action, I will not be able to do it again. I will tilt the card over to symbolize that it has been exhausted. It is now Avric's turn. And since we did such a good job with Landric, oh, and before I forget, Landric did not use any success token, so he's able to claim a success token, which I'll just place right here above his card. It is Avric's turn. Avric does not have anyone in front of him, well, meaning he can explore as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Almost jumping ahead here. I almost neglected the exploration card. So I did the explore. I need to draw and resolve an exploration card. So what did we get? You may either ready 1 activation card or become focused. Now, that's pretty cool. And I like the idea of becoming focused. Now, I will take this and we will place it right here, meaning that Landric is now focused. Good thing I didn't forget that. So, we've completed Landric's turn. My apologies there. We're continuing on with the hero phase. It is now Avric's turn. And as we've done so well with regards to exploring this roadside inn, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to twist the card to symbolize that it's exhausted. I will take 2 white dice for exploration, and let's see what we get here. Now I've gotten 3 success tokens, which is just fantastic because it means that we're going to be able to fully explore this zone potentially, as long as nothing negative happens with regards to Spleek's ability. And that's it. So we've gone through essentially half of an activation phase. Because this is a 2-player game, we are going to be coming back around and going through the hero phase once again. And at this point, we don't want to take any damage. We want to try to get rid of as many of these guys as possible. So it is now Landric's turn, and we're going to use the Arcane Bolt. Now, Arcane Bolt is a ranged attack, and actually, I'll take this up there. So it means you may become engaged with one enemy, meaning if I decided to, I could pull one enemy from the shadows, play him, you know, like, and we'll see this, I'm just going to cheat a little bit, play them face up in front of Landric, and that would mean me becoming engaged with them. But with a ranged attack, I can also just attack from him to the shadows, or an enemy engaging another player. It is not a melee attack. I do not need to make them engage. There's also a special ability with the range attack. Before resolving this action, you may exhaust another activation card to target one additional enemy and apply a +1 to the results. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to do that. I will exhaust Helpful Advice as well as Arcane Bolt. Since we did cheat a little bit here, we'll say that we're going to hit the Goblin Archers as well as this card. And I'm going to do some damage. I'm going to spend the success token. Now, it must be spent before you declare your attack. I can't like roll my dice and then decide to use it afterwards. It has to be spent before. And heroes can only have a maximum of 5 success tokens. But I want to kill some guys. Let's see what we get. We're going to roll the 2 dice. We're going to roll the enemy die as well. And oof. So see, that wasn't very good. We got 1 success and 1 shield. I don't like that. But we do have focus, which means we can re-roll up to 2 dice. I'm going to re-roll both. I really don't like the idea of what we got going here. And you know what? That is a bit better. We've got 2 successes +1 plus the success token that we spent. And we said we were going to be hitting this enemy, so we can flip them over. Meaning we've done a total of 1, 2, 3. 4 from the success token and the +1, the 5 from tapping Helpful Advice. Now with regards to that, we have dealt 5 damage, meaning we have defeated the Goblin Archers. And what I'm going to do with our discarded guys for the moment, I'm going to just place them up here next to Spleeg. We've got a little bit of a crowded space, and that will be the end of Landric's turn. You'll notice that next time the only thing you can really do is rest. So we go back around to Avric. And I will discard the focused. We don't need it. And the success token is now no longer there. He does not gain 1 because we used it. Avric thinks he needs to clobber some people. So we will use clobber. We'll become engaged with this enemy, pulling them down. And what do we get is a Goblin Witcher, which is not very fun. Does 2 damage and does 4 health and 1 resilience. Let's take a look at clobber. So you may become engaged with 1 enemy, which we've done. And it's important to know you have to do that first, because when you become engaged with the enemy, it means you're going to have to roll the black die. We roll 2 attack die and claim 1 success token. Now, let's make our roll. And we'll put the Goblin Witcher right here. If he survives, we're going to go through that during the enemy phase. You know what? I completely forgot, guys. I can't believe this. I neglected to resolve the exploration card for Avric. Let's back up just a little bit here. Let's take a look. You may suffer 1 damage if you do add 1 progress to the active location. Well, you know what? We're not doing any of that. We don't need to for the moment. So things are good. Apologize that I forgot that. Let's continue on with the hero phase. So Avric's attacking the Goblin Witcher. Roll the dice, and we get 2 successes, but he's got 1 resilience, meaning he only takes 1 damage, which is not pleasant. Now, what does this then mean? We have now completed our hero phase, and we are going to the enemy phase. So we'll cut right here, and we'll come back with the enemy phase. Keep it right here, guys. We'll be back as soon as we can. Now we are going into the enemy phase. Now, how does the enemy phase work? Well, before we take a look at our active villains, I do want to just use this rat swarm here as an example. Let's say this rat swarm was in front of Landric but had been exhausted, which can happen because of study the runes. So I was just trying to make a little more room here. Notice the arcane bolt slipped off camera. So if I'd exhausted the rat swarm, they would not get to activate this turn. All I would essentially do is on their activation, ready them, and they would be ready to go for the next time. We don't need them. We are going to get rid of them because they've already been defeated. Now what we're doing is we start with the party leader and we go around activating the enemies. As there is no one engaged with Landric, we will activate the enemy in the shadows, and it is a Goblin Witcher. Now for the standard Goblin Witcher, it will do Hex. If this enemy is engaged with you, you become weakened. Now, all right, so you become weakened. You've got retreat. Now, retreat means that if it was engaged with you, it would run back to the shadows. It then has inflict. It means it will do 1 damage. There is no rolling or any defense to the player it's engaged with. So as it was not able to do Hex, it says retreated. It is now inflicting 1 damage on Landric the Wise. Now, in the case of Avric, unfortunately, we engaged him. We might have been better off if we did not. Means we will now become hexed. So Avric is now weakened. He shall retreat, moving back to the shadows and inflict 2 damage onto Avric. And that is the enemy phase. We are now going to go into the Peril phase and the travel phase. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right here. We'll come back with those 2 phases and I will do them together. And then I think I'll actually continue. We'll go through a full playthrough of the Goblin problem. So keep it right here and I'll be right back. And we are back with the Peril and travel phase. Now what you need to do in the Peril phase is you move the Peril token up 1. Now once you reach a corresponding color, a color here on this track, you then must perform that action. So as you can see, we don't have anything here. It is gray. If we were at the green, we'd have to perform an action. I'm not going to lift the card up, but just to give you guys an idea. It says, in a show of coordination, perhaps more dumb luck than tactical planning, the goblins encircle you to foul your pursuit. For each goblin in play, the party leader chooses 1 hero to suffer 1 wound. Each hero upgrades an activation card. So as you can see right here is when we're going to be able to start doing some upgrades, but we will be able to take damage as well. Now after the Peril phase, which in this case is very simple, we move on to the travel phase. And before I forget here, I did make a mistake. We did conduct Clobber, and I forgot the claim 1 success token with Avric Albright, so I'll just put that 1 success token here. Now, at the start of there may be things on these locations. Sorry, I was getting a little flustered there. We have to go through the card. So if it says something at the start of the travel phase, we will then execute that. If it has something at the end of the travel phase, we will execute that if this is still the active location. Now, during the travel phase, as we have 6 explore on this, we are able to discard this and travel to the next location, which is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to discard these. I'm going to just discard the roadside inn and take it out of the play area. And we're going to move on to the next location, which is the Dark Forest. Now, the Dark Forest doesn't have at the start of the travel phase, but it does have an at the end of the travel phase effects. As we are moving into the end of the travel phase, we will have to go through that. But before that, the enemies in the shadows do not follow us, meaning both Goblin Witchers are discarded. Now what will happen at the end of the travel phase, the party leader rolls one enemy die. On a counterattack, he or she becomes poisoned. On a skull, spawn one enemy face down in the shadows. That is not pleasant, but we have to do it. Hopefully nothing bad happens. And we are lucky, nothing bad happens. We already have someone that is weakened. Now, I'm going to move the dice away. As you can see, the Dark Forest requires us to spawn. We'll pick this back up. We must spawn 3 enemies and 1 in the shadows. Exploring this is very important as it can keep bringing out more enemies. So we start once again with the party leader. So I'll place the Goblin archers. And then we'll go around in front of Landric. We do get Goblin archers in front of Avric. The third one will go once again to Landric, with the fourth one being spawned face down in the shadows. Now, we've gone ahead, we've traveled, we are now going back to the start of the hero phase, so I'm going to cut right here. You guys should have learned how to play the game by now. Sorry for a couple of those minor errors, but we've caught everything. It's all correct, and what I'll do is I'm going to start keeping on, well not start, I'm going to keep on going through the Goblin problem, but I will do it one full phase at a time, going through the heroes, as well as the enemies, peril, and travel phase all at once. Keep it right here, and we'll be right back. Now we're coming back with our second turn of the Goblin problem. Now we have some enemies out in front of each of our heroes. Landric the Wise is still our party leader. I did neglect to mention that during the travel phase, you can pass this on to another team member if you so choose. It is the party leader's choice. And in this case, Landric did not, and I would like to start with them anyway. Now, in this case, we need to rest. Now, because all my other activation cards are used, I can't do anything else. Now, you may exhaust one minion engaged with you. When you rest, you roll 1 die. When resolving this action, you get +1 shield to the results. And if all your other activation cards are exhausted, apply +1 success to the results as well, and ready all of your cards. Now, what I'm going to do is exhaust the Goblin archers. They're the ones that are the most annoying. They have the rat swarm in front of me. I must roll the 2 dice. Let's see what happens. Well, we do get a counterattack. We get 1 success. We get an extra success, and we have 1 shield, so we do not take any damage. We heal the 1 damage, and we now re-ready all of our activation cards. Next, it is now Avric's turn. And we are weakened, so I gotta do things very smartly here, because I need to reset all of my cards somehow and make sure that I can get rid of all of this stuff. Now I'm actually going to do the same thing that Landric did. I'm going to do heal thyself. You may exhaust 1 minion engaged with you. Rest, 1 die +1 shield to the results. If all my other cards have been exhausted, I could heal another hero. Then I'm able to ready all of my activation cards. What Weaken says is that at the start of my activation, if all my cards are readied, I can discard the card. At the end of your activation, either exhaust 1 activation card or suffer 1 wound. Now, taking 1 damage is not that big of a deal since I'm going to heal. We exhaust the Goblin archers, meaning they cannot engage with us. So I will not have to roll the black die. I can just roll the white die. And I get a shield, which I'm able to turn into a success thanks to Avric's ability. But that means I only heal 1 damage. But all of my cards are now readied. But because of Weakened, I will still take a damage. Alright, we've got this Dark Forest, and it is nasty. It is unpleasant. These guys are annoying, but I really want to avoid the stuff that it's going to spawn. We're going all in on our Explore. Now, because this guy's exhausted, I still only have to contend with the Rat Swarm. We will exhaust Repel, and I will roll my 3 dice. And we get the counterattack, which is then blocked by the shield, and 1 success. We have a critical success again, which lets us roll another die, bringing us to a total of 3, which I'll place near here. We need to draw and resolve 1 activation card. The readied enemy with the highest difficulty activates and then readies. All right. So this is interesting now. the readied enemy, the only one that's readied right now is the rat swarm because we can see it. It then activates. It is the highest difficulty one that we have. It activates, which triggers swarm. This enemy becomes engaged with the hero with the most engaged enemies. Technically, that means it'll just stay in place. And then see, it activates and then readies again. So it just does its thing, but then it's also readied. So it doesn't actually like lose its turn. It gets sort of an extra turn, if that's what it means. Now, fortunately, this one isn't readied. It's not engaged with us. So we are definitely lucky with that. And not the worst thing. And Avric's actually going to get rid of weaken now because everything is good to go. I was discarding it. I'm going to actually just flip it back over. And we're going to explore as well. And as our guys are exhausted, we're going to just roll the 2 dice. But we're going to spend one of our success tokens on forage. We want to get out of this forest as fast as possible. We only get 1 shield, which I can turn into a success. So we get another 3 because of my success token. But that's not really what I wanted. I wanted out of this forest. Alrighty then. We've now completed the hero phase. We'll then go on to the enemy phase. So I'm going to skip the exhausted enemies, just to keep things simple. We're going to start with the rat swarm. So he swarms. So as you can see, it's swarm. There's no inflict. He doesn't do any damage. He's going to stay exactly where he is. We then flip over the enemy in the shadow for Avric, which is the Goblin Witcher. If this enemy is engaged with you, become weakened. He does not do that. We follow Hex, then retreat. As he's already in the shadows, we just go straight to inflict, and he deals 1 damage to Avric. We will now get rid of one of these wound tokens, and then just flip over that token to 3. And at the end of the travel phase, the party leader rolls 1 enemy die. We will roll the 1 enemy die. We are lucky we did get nothing, so we do not need to spawn another enemy. Perfect. It is now our hero's turn, and we are not in the best shape. We got to get out of this dark forest. We've got enemies in front of us. Before I forget, we need to do the Goblin Archers. And sorry guys, I was jumping into the hero turn because I really want to get out of the dark forest. We still have our Peril. I jumped to the travel phase. We neglected the Peril phase. So I'm going to move that up. And in a show of coordination, perhaps more dumb luck, we already read this before. For each goblin in play, the party leader chooses 1 hero to suffer 1 wound. Each hero then upgrades an activation card. We have 3 goblins in play, meaning I'm going to pick Landric the Wise to suffer 3 damage, and there's a reason for that. We are now able to upgrade one of our activation cards. And in this case, Avric's going to take the path of the Spirit Speaker. And I'm going to choose to upgrade Clobber to Nature's Fury. Now, with regards to what I'm going to do in terms of Landric, Landric is going to upgrade his Arcane Bolt to Earthen Anguish. And this gives him a ranged attack. Well, he already has his ranged attack, but he can potentially hit up to 3 enemies. I do like that card. But we're in a tight spot. We want to get out of this dark forest more so than anything else. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to use helpful advice to aid. Now, we're going to roll 2 dice and 2 enemy die because we've got 2 guys in front of us. And what aid does is it gives Avric success tokens, but also lets him ready an activation card. And we want to explore again. Now we roll this, so that's annoying. Now Spleak, either discard 1 success token or discard 1 progress from the active location. Now, sorry guys, I keep making small mistakes. I did neglect to last turn when I used Repel to take the success token for Landric. But you know what? I am going to discard 1 from the activation. I just wanted to remember that, add my success token back, but we are going to lose 1 from there. Now what this triggers is the highest damage enemy and we are able to block the 1 damage. We only get 1 success though, giving Averick 1 success token, but it does let him ready forage. Now I'm just going to twist like that so everything matches. It is now once again Averick's turn. So we're going to have to roll 3 dice. Well, you know what? I can use forage later on. I don't necessarily want to take the damage. And these guys are potentially coming with us. I don't like them. We're actually going to do Nature's Fury, which means I may become engaged with 1 enemy. And I may exhaust 1 minion engaged with you. So I'm not going to become engaged with... You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Nature's Fury. I'm going to become engaged with these Goblin Archers. I will exhaust these Goblin Archers. I will then roll my 3 die, because I did it, become engaged, exhaust. I roll my 3 attack die, and I'm actually attacking the Masters. I want to get rid of them. You know what? I actually did that wrong. I'm exhausting these guys. I'm going to keep these guys active because I want to kill them potentially. I will spend my success token, and let's see what I get here. Now we do get a counterattack, but I do get a critical success. Roll another die. Another critical success. So just for the case of keeping track, I will mark that I do have 4 damage here, but I want to keep rolling because I might get a defense. I don't get a defense. Now, the archers are defeated. I do claim another success token. So I'll just take this one back. But I do suffer 2 damage. Put that other one back, don't need it. These guys are exhausted. And that was my first turn. Now we've got 3 guys out on the board. And we could use our ranged attack. But we can't target up to 3 enemies because I need to exhaust another card. I only have 2 cards exhausted. But still the best thing to do right here is going to be Earthen Anguish. So I may become engaged with an enemy, but I'm just want to get rid of this rat swarm. So I'm going to roll 3 and 1. Nothing happens. We get 3 damage, bunch of shields. It's perfect. We will defeat the rat swarm. They are gone. This is exhausted. And we will be going on to Averick's turn. This guy's exhausted. We don't need to deal with him. We're going to reuse forage. We're going to spend that success token. And slide these things down, make it a little clearer that this is exhausted. Just twist this one here too. Roll our 2 dice. Hopefully we'll get out of here. Well, we get 2 successes plus 1 from the shield. So that is a total of 3. We were at 5 plus 3. Yeah, so 5 plus 3 will bring us up to 8. So we have 8 successes going into the enemy phase. Now, we go into the enemy phase. So the Goblin Witcher engages Landrick, Hex, Retreat, Inflict, which means Landrick will take 1 damage. The Goblin Archers just get ready. And we now go into the Peril phase. We slide this up a track, and we are in the Travel phase. And guys, I always do this. I do apologize. I have once again neglected the travel cards. Now, we started off, there was the Mana Weave Rune. We've explored this thing 3 times, meaning I did pull 1, so there was 2 of them that I neglected. So we got the Mana Weave Rune, which would have gone to Landrick if I'm not mistaken. Then we've got Averick with the Book of the Stars. So let's take a look at these 2 items. That's actually good stuff. Mana Weave Rune, you may discard this card before or after hero's activation. If you do, that hero recovers 1 wound and claims 1 success token. You may discard this card after hero's activation and choose 2 heroes to each ready an activation card. Very good stuff. I might be making a mistake, and I should have maybe pulled another one, but I've only explored, I think, 5 times there. 3 times on this one and 1 on the other one, so I think we're good. Anyhow, my apologies. We're now in the travel phase. We're not at the end of the travel phase. We have our 7. We can discard this. Discard that stuff. we flip over the new location, and we have to notice on the top, when the party travels to the final location, if Splig is in the Nemesis lair, which he is, he then spawns in the shadow. So we now have to defeat Splig. And if we're looking at the Brigand Camp, at the start of the travel phase, the party leader chooses one hero. That hero may ready an activation card and roll one enemy die. On a counterattack, spawn one enemy in the shadows. Now, don't have to do that. Landric's going to stay as the party leader. We have now traveled to another phase. So with regards to Averick, we've got 2 cards exhausted, 2 readied. We have 3 exhausted, 1 readied. We are now going into the third part of our playthrough of the Goblin problem, the Brigand Camp. So keep it right here. I'm going to cut and we'll be right back. And we're back with the, slide this back. 3, 2, 1. And we're back with the third location and final location of the Goblin problem. To win the game, we now must defeat Splig and fully research this location. And I've just made some small adjustments to the setup, guys. Made some adjustments to the camera, try to get it a little bit more room. We've moved Splig down from the Nemesis layer. The discard pile is now up here. I'm going to move this location over here. And we now need to spawn the enemies for the Brigand Camp. I will place the Goblin Witcher up there and then Splig over here, sort of denoting this area as the shadows. We need to deal out 1 guy face up, which will be the Rat Swarm in front of Landric the Wise. And then we need 3 guys face down in the shadows. It is now the hero phase. It's our hero's turn. And let's see what we can do. Well, only thing we can do for Landric is rest up, reset everything. He will gain a success token. But to see how much we actually heal, we need to roll. Well, actually, we do need to roll, but we do exhaust this Rat Swarm in front of us. Roll the dice. We get a shield. And we only heal 1 because that is all we were able to do. Now, it is Averick's turn, and Averick is actually going to end up doing the same thing. We will exhaust the Goblin Archers. We will roll 1 die, which turns into 2 successes because of our ability, meaning we're able to heal 2 damage. Now, we need to start doing either some investigating, or we need to defeat Splig. And as we're going to have the chance to upgrade a card, I think attacking Splig is a good idea. So we're going to do Earth and Anguish. I'm going to spend both of these success tokens that I have. And we're targeting Splig. We're going to roll 3 dice. Hopefully it's good. And that's actually not too bad. We got a total of 3 damage here. We get our crit. We're able to roll again. But lots of defense, so it's a total of 5 damage. Splig is able to block 2 of that. So let's just take a look at Splig. Resilience of 2, total loss of 10, advance, inflict, retreat. His special ability means, well, it's not a special ability, it's an effect. If we fully explore that location, he gets -1 resilience. We'll toss 3 damage on him. It is now Averick's turn, who will use Nature's Fury. Let's expend these 2 success tokens, which means we can become engaged with an enemy and exhaust an enemy engaged with you. I'm just going to move this Book of the Stars actually over here for the moment, because we're going to become engaged with Splig, but we're then going to exhaust him. And what we're then going to do is attack him. Start 3 dice, and hopefully it's going to go well. And not too bad. It's a total of 3 damage. Fortunately, I wish we could do more. He's going to block. But we will claim a success token, but he only takes 1 damage. So no, not the most successful round. We now need to go through the enemy phase. These 3 guys will not activate. We can now select the enemies that we want to trigger, but I like going around in the circle. So the Goblin Witcher will attack Landric, and going through everything, Hex, Retreat, Inflict, 1 damage. We shall flip over the next one. It is a Bandit. It's going to advance on Averick. So advance, backstab, inflict. So backstab, and I'll read it out to you guys. So backstab, if the enemy is engaged with you and you have at least one other enemy engaged, you suffer 1 wound, meaning this guy actually is going to deal 2 damage to Averick. So we will place those 2 wounds on him. We'll trigger the next guy, which is a bandit, which will advance, backstab, and inflict, which means 2 damage to Landrick the Wise. Flip over the last one here, which is a cave spider. So you'll see it does, so this one has poison, meaning if you're engaged with it, you'll become poisoned. It advances and then inflicts. However, we cannot have more than 3 enemies engaged with us. So what then happens is it stays in the shadows, but just inflicts its damage to Averick, bringing him up to 6 damage, and you're going to go from there. Now, we will ready the other enemies. Slide these guys up and over. And I don't think we actually need this right here. We'll place the bandit here. I'll put this over here. Sometimes that these 3 guys are engaged with Averick. The party leader token, it is Landrick. I will actually also place this just in a bed, trying to find a better location for it. You know what? I'm going to place this here. We haven't really used the reference card. And we'll activate this. So mind that these are the guys engaging with Landrick. And we'll place the mana weave right there. Now, it is once again our hero's turn. But don't forget, we've got we got to do the explore in the Peril phase. So we need to spawn 1 goblin from the enemy discard, engage with each hero. That's not fun. We've got goblin archers and goblin witchers. Well, the archers will spawn because we get to pick, engage with Landrick the Wise. And the goblin witcher will spawn in the shadows. We got a lot of stuff going on, not a lot of damage on Spleeg. We got to get some good stuff. And we were able to upgrade our cards. So we're going to upgrade our explorer because maybe exploring this location is going to be the only thing that we can do. And it's Landrick's turn. We're going to explore. Now we have to roll against 3 enemy dice. They're going to slow us down. Whew, that's actually not so bad. So we have to trigger the highest damage enemy. They all do 1. So that's only going to be 1 damage. We've got a total of 3 successes, which I'll place next to the brigand camp. And we're able to roll 2 of these dice again. So I will get these off camera. We'll reroll the 2 dice. And it is only another success. But still, that brings us halfway to exploring the brigand camp. We need to draw a card, and what do we get? Another mana weave room. So I'm just going to discard this right away. You may discard this card before and after a hero's activation. If you do that, hero recovers 1 wound and claims 1 success token. So let's heal up Averick. He'll get a success token. You know what? I'm actually going to discard both of these on Averick. Get rid of another wound and get him another success token. Let's not forget, we need a success token for Landrick the Wise. And we're now going to do 1 with nature, and we can only assign 2 success tokens maximum here. And hopefully we get a good roll. We have 3 guys in front of us. Oof. Lots of successes, but we're going to take a whack load of damage. Now, Spleeg triggers, so we need to remove 1 from the location. Or I can discard a success token. Actually, that's what I'm going to do, discard the success token. We need to trigger the 2 most damaging enemies, which are going to be a total of 3 damage, which means we'll just add another 3 here. But we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, 5, 6 successes, and we get to roll again. All right, so a total of 7 successes. So 3, 6, 7 on the location. Now you guys may be wondering why I just skipped sort of through the travel phase. Well, if you look at the brigand camp, it's at the start of the travel phase. The party leader chooses 1 hero. That hero may ready 1 activation card and roll 1 enemy die. On a counterattack, spawn 1 enemy face down in the shadows. We got enough problems as it is. I am not going to do that. However, I do still have the Book of the Stars. So you may discard this card after hero's activation if you do choose 2 heroes to ready 1 activation card. Well, as we're doing so well with the location. Let's see if we can actually defeat Spleak. And let's go. So it's now once again Landric the Wise's turn. We're going to roll our 6 dice. We're going to use our success token to boost damage against Spleak, and hopefully we get something good. Let's make the roll. And ouch. That is a massive counterattack. So we take a total of 3 damage. Good thing we've got the extra +10. We're able to deal 3 damage to Spleak. I'll just place this out here. Get rid of this stuff, and we can re-roll 1 of the dice. So it's a total of 4 damage. Well, actually his resilience is at 1, because while the actual location is fully explored, it's -1. So total of 4, -1, he takes 3. He is at 7 damage. It's coming down to the wire, Mr. Averick Albright. Let's see what we got. Once again, 3 and 3. Well, we do have to remove 1 from the location. We've got plenty on there. And we have a total of 3 damage. Man, this guy's going to be barely alive. Oh, wait. I neglected my success token from earlier. Lucky me. Good thing it was out there for you guys to see it. So with that total of 1, 2, 3 damage, and blocked by 1, just add the 3. We'll get rid of this. The last 2 damage, last 2 damage brings them up to 10 damage. We have defeated Spleak. Now the question is, will we survive to explore the location and escape? It is now the enemy phase. We'll start with the party leader. We have the Rat Swarm. We will then have this lovely Goblin Archer that will retreat and deal 1 damage. We take 1 damage from the Bandit, flipping this to 3. Good thing we got the +10. Now, the guys in front of us, this guy also retreats to the shadows, dealing 1 damage, so that'll be 2 damage to Averick, leaving him here. Let's now go through these next guys. We'll start with the party leader. 1 damage from Inflict. 1 damage from Inflict. Another damage from Inflict. And then this will advance. Put the Goblin Archers here. And also Inflict, but only 1 damage. So we have a total damage on our guys of 3, 6, 12, 14. And sorry guys, I neglected to slide that up that turn. And here we've got 10, we've got, well not 10, sorry, 11 plus 10. We are still alive. We slide the Peril thing up. We now move on to the travel phase, and whoops. I got too excited, guys. Let's see if anything bad would have happened. I would have had to take in another Explorer card. So Wanderer's Stone. You may discard this card when a hero resolving his or Explore action. If you do, apply +1 to the results. That's what Averick would have gotten. Nothing bad. That would have killed him because we got the Mana Rune with Landric. Sorry, I forgot about that. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game. It gets a little tricky to manage, especially when you're managing 2 characters. And yes, we're on the travel phase. It is fully explored. We have explored the Brigand camp, and we can take it. And in victory, we will throw it off camera. We'll throw it with Spleak off camera. We'll throw these tokens off camera. We have won the game. So as you can see, it's not the easiest. And now, guys, stay tuned for our review of the game. You'll hear Julie and my thoughts on this game. We have played it at 4. We'll have played it at 2 as well. I want to get her to see it like this. The flow is definitely very different. And keep it here. I think you guys will enjoy it. So, Heroes of Terrinoth. What did you think of the game?
Well, I have to say, first thing, I really was looking forward to playing Tara. She's not in it.
No. And for those of you that don't know, Tara is Julie's favorite character, her mage from Descent 2nd edition.
So she's not there. So that started off little bit of disappointment. There were other characters that were interesting. You really wanted me to like this one. It took me a little bit of time to figure out what the point of it is. It's a deck building game, but it seemed a little bit different to me.
Not really any deck building at all because we don't get to add any cards. It's really more of it's more of a card game, a hand management game almost.
So, it was a little different to me, and at first I was trying to figure out, well, okay, so what? The first time we played, it wasn't that hard. I have to say, I don't think it was that difficult until we got really to the last playthrough, and by then we had gotten a little bit to a higher difficulty level, correct?
Yeah, we were playing the second mission, and then we just kind of got overrun. We didn't really make the best choices, and having the Nemesis still alive when they enter the game early on was not a great decision.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I want to like it more than I did, I think, is what I can say. I like the art. I thought the art was good. The production value of the cards. I like the different dice.
Well, the art's pretty much all reused. And that's at least for the characters, I'll give it a nod. It's the same art that has been used in Descent, same art that you're going to find in Runebound, possibly the same art in Rune Wars and Battle Lore. Have the games that haven't gone through all of the cards and character cards.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'd say you're better at finding these words. I think I can express the fact when I don't love it or not. I don't know if I'd say it's clunky. I just didn't love the mechanics of the game. I didn't hate it. I'd play it again, but I really thought I would love this game, and it could just be, you don't like dice chucking games, and it could just be that I'm not really a fan of, resource management.
Well, it's resource management and action selection, so it is a cooperative game, but I get what you're saying, and I sort of feel the same way. Now, the game is based on Warhammer Quest, and it's a refined version of Warhammer Quest. If you liked Warhammer Quest, you will like this game. Seen a lot of positivity around it, but I have to say, there were some things that I expected out of Heroes of Terrinoth, and these are probably mine, possibly Juliet's similar expectations. These are our own expectations from the game. And I must admit, I was also a little bit disappointed in the game. I was hoping to have a little bit more of a campaign element to upgrade the characters, to sort of get this Descent light that I could take out and play. Mm-hmm. And that's not what Heroes of Terrinoth is. So it's not fair for me to go ahead and ding the game for not being what I expected it to be. But I do agree with Julie that the things flow a little clunkily. I do feel that the design, because it's an updated version of Warhammer Quest, maybe is a little dated. We also really enjoy deck building games, which typically have, a faster pace, more of a flow. That's definitely not this game. And I think that's kind of what I was expecting from a card game, or at least a way to upgrade my heroes and, take them through all of these 8 missions. Whereas the way you play the game, you're really starting over every time. Now, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. But if you're looking for a replacement for Descent, that's not this game. This isn't going to be Descent that you can play in 45 minutes with a quick setup. You should look somewhere else for that kind of a game. But what the game does well is it's very much a cool cooperative game, picking the actions, using your actions wisely, working as a team to make sure that you beat the Nemesis, fully explore the location are a lot of fun. I do find it a little bit frustrating personally that enemies are constantly attacking you, which makes it so that, your health and everything really becomes a resource that you're trying to manage. I would have preferred more of an adventure style to the game, and you don't really get that feel, but it's still a fun cooperative game. It's just probably not my favorite cooperative game. I would much rather pull out something like Street Masters or Descent than Heroes of Terrinoth. Now, it's going to stay in our collection, and we're going to keep playing it. Maybe even after we get a couple more plays, and we'll do a quick re-review and update the score. But just not my favorite. I don't necessarily think that it flows well. I find that, having to look at the card and going through the sequence of events a little annoying, especially when it comes to Explore. Those of you that watch the full playthrough will notice I often forgot to draw an Explore card because I just kind of forget. It doesn't feel like an action that needs to be taken. Now, I'm sure there's people out there that love Warhammer Quest and are looking at me like, how can you not like that? I don't know. isn't for me. I don't know. What would you have to say about that?
I don't know the other game.
No, I mean the flow, the actions.
Well,
like
that's what
the
I was saying.
explore.
It felt clunky. I forgot a bunch of times to do the explore card, even though it was one of my special features that I could pick two. I kept forgetting to pick them because they don't feel like they offer necessarily all that much either. Exactly as you said, I would have liked as well to be able to carry a campaign element through, like the carry. I like to build up my characters. I've said it before. I like to power them up, and I just don't enjoy it. And I think that's how I started off saying there might be some people that love this style of play and love this. It's just not my favorite.
No. And I don't want to sound like we're just talking about the negatives of the game. So let's talk about the good stuff. I know we talked about the cooperative element. I think what is really fun, and we did very well, especially once we did remember to pick up some of those Explorer cards, was, resetting people's action, using the aid skill to work together. And then, also like tapping the other skills to boost power from the mage, hitting like a truck like Julie likes to do. But that wasn't what the class that she was playing, but she did very well with the scout of playing support, pulling characters away, and playing the role of the tank. So that is a lot of fun. The game definitely makes the rules feel very thematic, almost a little more thematic than I'd say even some other dungeon crawlers that are going for. And definitely kudos to the Sadler brothers because the game is very well designed. I can't stress that enough. It is well designed. It's well put together, but it does feel a little dated. I can't remember when Warhammer Quest came out, but I know it's been a few years. So I think, and we've gotten into more of the modern games. You guys can tell from the collection behind there. And since we started doing videos, we weren't playing a lot of games a few years back. But what are the positives that you liked about it? You talked more about your complaints. What really shone through besides the art and being back in Terrinoth, the world that you enjoy?
Well, I like the characters. I think you touched on it. I think they were thematic. I like I said, the production value. I like that the villains, I enjoyed the villains of the world of Terrinoth. So I enjoyed seeing some of the ones that we had seen from Descent as well. And I like that it's relatively quick. I think that's about as much as I can add to that.
Okay. So what would you score the game out of 10?
Thinks it's 6.
I'm going to give this a 6.5. I think after a couple more plays and getting used to the system, it could go up to a 7, 7.5 for me. But like I said, I think reason why I'm giving it a little bit of a lower score is some of our own expectations. But it definitely has a place on the shelf. It's something that we're going to play again. And possibly after we go through all 8 of these adventures, whether successfully or we fail miserably, we'll give you guys some more thoughts on this game system. So with that being said, Julie, what are we going to do?
Gonna grab our drinks, as Jason says.
Yep. Grab our best friend.
We're gonna keep playing games.
Keep playing games. Yeah, I know you really wanted Tara and to get some more skills and power up. We could always make our own campaign mode for this.
We've got so many other games to play.
Yes, that's true. I think we're going to be moving on to something fun and new for next week.
There's an Ariana Grande song, I think. Thank You, Next.
Yep.
There
I don't even think I've heard that song. You know me in the radio. We're not friends. Not friends.